it's all about the music.
Yeah.
It really is all about the music.
Yeah.
And I really don't think you can deny greatness.
This is my quote for you. You are uniquely voiced for that circus.
It's great.
You've always struck me as some sort of like island in the middle of the ocean that doesn't need to sort of be thrown around like the rest of us.
The other guys were so mean to me. And I just wanted nothing but for them to succeed.
Yeah. Everything's just swimming along. Mötley Crüe.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable, right? It's so weird to even say.
Well, thank you very much. It's nice to see you again. You've done so many things musically, but let's talk about Kiss.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what we really care about. Someone from your world sent me a clip of you on the news, and I just had to laugh because, it's like, here we are at the Kiss, and then it's like on, local TV, Nights in Satan's Service Museum. And I was like, oh my God, this is so meta America that no one realized it was, had something to do with Satan out on the local news.
Yeah.
So am I 2,500 items is your?
There's 2,500 items, but if we're counting records and cassettes and 8-tracks and reel-to-reels, then we're well over 5,000.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Have you thought about, no, it's Satan's plane is flying.
Yeah.
Have you thought about, I don't know your wife, but at some point does she go, should we put this, like institutionalizing it, making it like an official thing?
Yes. She gives me that sigh of disappointment, like,
as only a wife can.
So,
she sees you bidding on something.
Yeah.
Right? You're at an auction, right?
Sweating.
Yes. I have the same problem. So people watch my show get mad when I interject myself in other people's things. But I think we're similar and we collect a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So when I was reading about you collecting, I was like, that makes total sense to me.
And I can watch things on people collecting anything, like thimbles or...
Yeah. I think collecting's so fascinating. And I always, because I collect weird stuff, but like sometimes people say, what do you collect? So I like to collect post-war Japanese porcelain figures. They call them post-war Japan.
Interesting.
The U.S., in order to get the Japanese economy going again, started buying a lot of porcelain from Japan. So they're literally stamped post-war Japan.
Wow.
And they look like kind of early anime. It'll be like an American Cowboy, but it looks like anime, speed racery vibe, but like from the 50s.
Yeah.
But as you know, when you go down the rabbit hole of a collecting world, then now you're in Kiss world.
Yes.
Now you're in porcelain post-war. It's like it gets really nerdy in there. Like, oh, you don't want that. That's that came out later. That's the reissue. This is the real thing. And,
right.
So, what did you start collecting pretty early on?
Yeah, I started collecting, and I believe that, in my eyes, it's just makes me feel good from my childhood because, you and I grew up and Kiss was all over the place, and I would collect back then. I would remember going to Toys R Us and thumbing through the dolls or the action figures, I should say. Not dolls, but...
I could see Gene action figures.
Yeah. So I loved it, and I still have been collecting through all this time. But what I'm doing is I'm really trying to document and make a catalog of everything.
Like almost like a master catalog?
Yes.
And they probably don't have something like that, right?
Oh, no. I'm talking from every country of like...
Oh, my goodness.
South America and Korea and everything. There's 27 different versions of Dynasty from Korea. And it's still in that era because I cut off at the Aucoin years of 83, the beginning of 83. But I really trying to do just for rock and roll history.
Yeah. Yeah, because Gene sat in that very chair and he was like, we had 2 factories in the valley, full-time, 24 hours a day. But, it's the Beatles. Like, they just threw their name on everything, but that's what makes it cool,
Yeah.
So, for those who don't know what we're talking about, home museum, right? Privately guided tours by you.
Yes.
You're taking like 6 people at a time. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah, because I want to spend a couple hours with each person and talk to them, play pinball with them, really. And aficionados come in there and they're like, oh, do you have the tour book that was only released for these 2 shows? And, here it is.
Oh, wow.
And things like that. So people really enjoy it. I mean, it brought tears to their eyes just to touch the costumes from back in the day. And,
yeah, I'm big on objects, I guess. I have some original wrestling stuff. I have like the original female belt of the world, you know what I mean?
Amazing.
And when you just hold that piece of history and you think of the buildings that this belt was in, so when you're holding something of Gene's from 1974, it's like it's living history. So what's you must have a prized possession or prized possessions.
I believe I have 2. I have the only remaining destroyer boots. So those dragon boots. And they're barely hanging on and they smell and there's mold and there's blood and everything. So those, and then Gene's outfit from, I don't know if you saw the clip on Donahue when he was on there, very early on. It was like their first TV appearance.
I think I was watching it live in Chicago.
Yeah, he's got that outfit on. He's worn it for hundreds of shows, so I have that as well.
Wow.
And he told me he would just ride on it with the subway, like because he was, they had no money and interesting.
This is a little bit of a side question, but I always wonder with the band like Kiss, how much stuff ends up floating out into the market, especially when it was band members' personal stuff. You must know some of the allegorical history. Would they just give stuff to like a roadie or like they didn't think anything of it? Or
such a great question, because on the cover of Hotter Than Hell, and Paul wore this belt at tons of concerts, and on the cover of Hotter Than Hell, he's got this belt. And someone reached out to me and said, "Oh, I have his belt," and he sent me a letter of how he got it, and Paul just traded it to him for a ring, so for some jewelry, because in 1975 in Port Huron, because to Paul it was probably just some old costume piece. You and I have both known about that. What do we do with it? And the guy had it for decades, and then just got it to me. But I think everybody ends up selling eventually. We all, once we perish.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is it always strikes me. It's one thing if it comes from the artist.
Sure.
Like you got stuff that only you would have. I got stuff only I would have.
Of course.
Right. Like you go on tour with Mötley Crüe. It's like you got one of so many tour books, something like that.
Of course.
And you throw it in the closet. It's like there it is.
Right.
But when it seems to kind of like when you say these boots, like. At one point, did Gene turn to a cousin and go, "You can have the boots," and that stuff always strikes me as sort of.
It is. It's interesting.
It's novel. I saw one reference this, so please excuse me if I don't have it right. But did at some point you had a Kiss collection, you sold it to somebody, or?
That's correct. So what happened was, and I'm just going to be completely honest. I was collecting and had my buddy who I would collect with. This wonderful, wonderful guy. His name's Ruben. And, he was just such a incredible person. Didn't have a lot of friends, but, we were like partners and we would collect together and we'd have so much fun. And he was young, got sick, got cancer, and died. And I was devastated. I was so devastated that I couldn't even look at the stuff, So then, this is so strange, Billy. This is so strange. Then a few years later, I picked it back up and got back into it, and I got my new partner that I would, collect with, and we had such a good time. We'd do all this thing. And he was just diagnosed with stage 4 cancer.
Oh my goodness.
And he's young. I'm like, what is going on? So he's fighting. I talk to him twice a day, every day. So it's just, it's very strange.
Yeah. When Gene was here, Gene Simmons, of course, I argued with him that I thought Kiss was better than he thought. And I thought it was a novel approach to take because I've seen him be kind of almost pseudo-dismissive at times of Kiss's music.
Sure.
And I thought, I bet no one's ever gone at him like this. And I actually kind of got him back on his heels a little bit, which is hard to do, as you know. Gene's a very tough character, very bright. And he's heard it all and he's seen it all. So
of course.
To try to even find an angle in
Sure.
to talk about stuff. But I was curious about because as a fan, especially as a great musician, what's your take on their sort of musical legacy? You know, like let's call it the musicians' take for musicians of Kiss.
Absolutely. I don't think we'd be talking about Kiss today if it wasn't for the music. And it's not just the music from the debut record to Creatures of the Night. All those great records. They had so many hits in the 80s.
It's crazy.
Tons. Great songs.
Heaven's on Fire. I mean,
oh
what
my
a great
God,
song.
Crazy Nights, like
Look it up.
All Night, X and Sex, you know? I mean, it's unbelievable. It's all about the music.
Yeah.
It really is all about the music.
Yeah.
And I really don't think you can deny greatness. I mean, there's two types of music. There's good and bad.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting because generally speaking, there's a ton of love for Kiss in the rock community. And it's not just sentimental. It's like everybody knows Ace is a great guitar player, that they wrote great songs. But somehow there's that sort of public thing. And I think a lot of it honestly has to do with Gene kind of talking in public for so many years, kind of making it about money. And I don't know if it was on the Donahue appearance that you referenced, but I remember watching Gene interviewed I couldn't have been, it was probably mid-70s, so I would have been 8, 9 years old watching them, and I was a fan. And he was so crass. And the audience was like,
You're right.
you know, because they'd all grown up on Gene Autry, you know, just want to sing these songs, and, you know, Liza Minnelli and all this. And here's Gene just like, we do whatever we got to do, you know. And it was so crass that it was shocking, and it was effective in a kind of a marketing way of, you know, making people think about what they were doing in a different way. But
absolutely,
I think in the long tail of that was then Kiss. It became, and you've seen it because you're a fan. You've seen those reviews from like 1975, like, you know, they can't play, they can't sing, can't dance, you know, all that stuff. So
it's funny because in the beginning they didn't want Gene to do interviews. Because he was
because it was the character,
and he's so educated and so well spoken, and so when you like just for fun, you know, go on the YouTubes and look up this interview, Donahue 1974, and it's so weird because he's like, your audience looks very appetizing and stuff like that.
Oh, is that when he was trying to be that character? Right?
Yeah, so they were just, you know.
What's that famous? Is it Mike Douglas where he's on there with like?
Oh, it's Mike Douglas. I'm sorry, it's not Donahue. Oh my God!
But there's that.
It's Mike Douglas.
But he's on there with some actress, and she goes, "Oh, come on! I know you're just a Jewish boy from the Bronx."
Yeah, you can't hide the hook. Yeah. Oh my God!
So there's this like, but he's trying to kind of play evil,
right? And he's like trying not to like smirk and laugh.
Mike Douglas who's like totally schmaltzy. And,
Mike Douglas. Oh my God, I feel so bad. Why did I say Donahue?
But what was funny about that is now it looks kind of funny in the abstract, right? Because now we know how the, like when Paul was here, I said, you know, now we know how the movie ends, so we could kind of look at it and have fun and look at things, you know, in a rosy way. But I think it's fascinating that they didn't really know what they were stumbling into. And there are those moments where Gene's like, am I supposed to be the evil guy? Right. And then at some point he settles on the kind of, the Stentorian kind of, or is it Centaurian? Is it Gene?
Yeah.
You know, and then of course Ace is just the loose cannon, the famous, what's it? Tom
Snyder.
Tom Snyder. I was on Tom Snyder once and I was totally geeking out, but I mean, Ace is out of his mind, and you could see the band just like going, "Oh God, there goes our career." And
he was
kill
dying.
him.
The first time I met Gene, I was a little kid, and
how old?
It was the Lick It Up tour, so I was probably 13.
Is this like a meet and greet type of deal?
No, I skipped school, which is very odd, and
meant to be.
Yeah. But I was like, I went to the Pontchartrain Hotel in Detroit, downtown, not the safest place in the world, and a preppy kid from Grosse Pointe, Michigan, and got there and waited all day, and here comes Gene. And he just walks right by me and gets in the elevator. And I was like, I'm going to get in the elevator. I'm not going to blow this. So he's standing like this,
Yes.
like this. And I have the originals booklet. And I said, will you sign this? And he just wouldn't answer me. He was just, and I'm just this little kid, like standing there with like my booklet. And he just wouldn't answer me. Or wouldn't look at me. So we get to the floor.
Yeah.
And Billy, I'm being so honest. I can't believe I did this. Door opens. He goes, "Do you want me to sign that for you, son?" And I go, "No, it's okay."
Aww.
Can you believe it? I can't believe I did that. Like,
well, it hurt your feelings.
Yeah, like he just obviously didn't want to, do it. So I was like, "It's okay, forget it."
Well, God bless them.
Yeah,
all of them, really.
Oh, I love them.
So let's talk about you now.
Okay. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, exactly. It's been great talking to you about Kiss. I love, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I saw that you started playing guitar because you saw somebody playing on Hee Haw, and it was the guy I think he was playing banjo, but
yeah,
but of course,
Henley.
What's his name again?
Jimmy Henley.
Yeah, and of course, Roy Clark was like a total shredder,
the best,
crazy.
And
I think it's hard maybe for younger generations to understand that music was so scarce on television in America in the 70s and early 80s. Like we took it wherever we could get it.
Yeah, anything. Partridge Family, the Monkees, Hee Haw.
Right. So and Mickey Dolenz was in that chair too. And it was like,
I saw.
But it's like, oh my God, somebody's singing a cool song to me. Thank God there's something.
Yeah.
Banana Splits, anything. Right?
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that, because I think Hee Haw is a very underappreciated part of our culture.
Absolutely.
Because in middle America, it was sort of presented as like, the local yokel rednecks having a laugh. Right. But when you really look, there was like Buck Owens. I mean, you had real musicians there.
All of them were just incredible. And I would watch this with my dad, and it was what was on. Yeah. And I was so...
It was all that was on.
It was all that was on.
That's it.
I was so drawn to Don Rich and
oh God, Don Rich.
Oh my God. I was like just...
Man, can that guy play?
Oh my God. And Buck
Telly
Owens.
too.
Yeah.
Telly guy.
So I was so drawn to the electric guitar. I was like, I just couldn't take my eyes off of it. And that's why I play a Telly, because at my young age, I was like 6. I was like, I want to play the electric guitar. And I didn't think they came in any other shape. I thought it was
you just thought that was the shape.
I just thought that was the shape of an electric guitar.
Yeah.
And I was so mesmerized by it. And I just would always talk about the guitar. And so I saw Jimmy Henley in 1976 playing this banjo. He's playing Orange Blossom Highway and just killing it. And he was this kid too. He was a kid.
Yeah.
And I was like shocked. I was like, I can't believe this is incredible. But even at such a young age, I mean, I play banjo and I love banjo, but even at a young age, I was like, I want to play electric guitar, not banjo.
Something about the guitar.
Yeah. And it really was such an epiphany for me.
Do you play Scruggs style?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wear the...
Yeah.
Do you do the... The hum pick?
The picks, yeah.
I've never been able to get comfortable with that.
Yeah, it's so interesting. And then I'll use my fingers like live. I'll play, but I'll just use my fingers. But I love the banjo. But Hee Haw, like television, I think is so important because it could change your life forever. Just being influenced by music and things like that.
Well, Morello and Adam Jones and I all grew up in sort of the same area. So it's like, and we were all watching the same stuff you were watching outside of Detroit, right? It's just like we were taking it anywhere we could get it.
Anywhere.
So there's something really beautiful about that. I think that on some level, I almost say that the scarcity of information forced us to use our imagination and our musical ambitions in unique ways. And I think that's why we're all kind of unique guitar players.
Yeah, of course.
We didn't sort of all end up in the same camp.
Of course.
it's loosely defined as alternative music, but I don't really think.
Of course.
Like I've always said, no, but when you play guitar, I understand how you play guitar.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we don't play the same, but I get why you do what you do. It's not like I'm listening and think, it's too weird to me. It makes total sense.
Yeah.
And I always felt that way. Morello and Adam, same way.
Yeah. And it's funny, the reason I do play guitar like that, because just being honest, it's like, I don't really talk about it that much, but I had, I loved Randy Rhoads and Yngwie and, everybody that we all loved, Steve Vai and Joe Satriani. And I learned all that stuff and really loved it. But I started like putting out instrumental records. I've had so many deaths in my family, like an unusual, strange amount. Like my mom, dad, 2 sisters, brother-in-law, best friend, father, niece, it just goes on and on. Very strange. And so I would go into therapy. I was going into therapy because I was like, I thought I was cursed in some way. It's just very strange. But the therapist told me something so imperative that I'll never forget, and it changed my life forever. He said, do something to occupy your brain, to really occupy your brain. And that's why I was started with the instrumental records.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask about that, but we could talk about it now.
Yeah.
She put out 10, is that accurate?
Yeah.
So it's just a way to have something to really hyper-focus.
To hyper-focus, because if not, I'd probably, be throwing feces at traffic or something, So, but
or you'd be playing on hee-haw.
Yeah, that'd be great. But yeah, it really helped so much. I mean, it's incredible because you're really trying to, master this technique and this different styles of music and all that stuff, So it really helped a lot.
That explains it, yeah. Because you're an unusual case, because when you kind of came onto the musical scene and I heard about you and people talk about your playing, you didn't have this immediate, like, I don't want to say a man without a country, but, for a while you seemed to kind of float between projects, bands, artists, and stuff like that in a way that, like Jeff Beck or something, more like a gunslinger type, and you seem comfortable with that. But that explains it to me, because I was like, well, how does this other component fit in it? Because you don't seem like somebody who wants to be viewed as a proto-shredder type.
Right.
Like, it's not really your brand.
Right.
Do you? Here's a question for you in 2025. How do you define your brand?
I love music in general, country, jazz, everything, rock. But I love just being with different bands like Manson or Zombie or Mötley Crüe, but then I love to just go nuts and do these crazy, shredding shows and albums. I really have the best of both worlds, because I'm not going to go play, Home Sweet Home with sliding arpeggios and stuff like that. It's just wouldn't work. But
you'd cause some kind of riot.
Yeah, but that's why it's just wonderful to have kind of the best of both worlds, I'm so happy and very fortunate to be doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, we're living the dream.
Yes,
for sure. Explain to me how you suddenly end up in LA at 17. Was it the classic Midwest? I got to get out of here. I'm going to go where the music is.
Yeah. Well, where I grew up, Grosse Pointe, it's kind of like Beverly Hills, but kind of even beyond.
I once had a crush on a girl in Grosse Pointe, so I have a little bit of Grosse Pointe information from back in the day.
It's beautiful. It was beautiful.
Because I'm not a Detroiter, I'm a Chicagoan. But
sure, of course.
People would say to me, oh, she's from Grosse Pointe.
Yeah.
Meaning it's never going to work. See, that's a good one, right?
That's a good one. That's actually really good.
Because I had a crush. She was very beautiful, and it was like, it's never going to work. She's from Grosse Pointe.
That's so funny. But
the point being, she's always going to go back to the country club. She's not going to hang out with the rock.
Of course, she's not going. Which is,
it's like every Bill Murray Murray movie ever.
But I was in high school, and these this is such a strange story, but these people from Warner Brothers flew, because heard about me. And they
Just
were
like a local rep thing?
yeah,
Okay.
very odd.
Are you local bands? Because there's not a ton of information about you in this period of your life.
Had this local band, and we played all Van Halen, and it was just, we won all these Battle of the Bands, and I was playing nightclubs at when I was in junior high, and it was like.
Are these just like rocker bars? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, rocker bars.
So not more on the rock side.
Which you would maybe know, Harpo's. You remember
Sounds
Harpo's?
familiar.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever played there, but
okay, yeah. But so there was, anyway, these people came and they were like, "Oh, we think he would do really well," and blah blah blah. So I didn't even graduate. So I just went.
Okay, stop there. So what do your parents say at this point?
So I've never had a drink, never had a smoke or anything, never a cigarette or anything, and they were supportive.
Because they were like, you're an adult and you can handle this.
Yeah, we know you're not going to do, and I was so obsessed with guitar. I mean, so obsessed. And I drove out actually with the drummer from Megadeth. He was on the album So Far, So Good, So What.
What was his name? I can't remember.
Chuck Bueller.
Okay, right.
So I drove out with him because he lived in Michigan. We were driving out there. And I knew nothing. I mean, I was so sheltered.
Okay, so you have your stuff and the guitar and an amp.
Yeah. And I was so sheltered. I knew nothing. I could hardly cross the street, So
especially coming out here. So that would have been what year? I'm trying to do
88.
That was a good time to come out here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I actually came out here right about the same time too.
Really?
Yeah. A friend's sister had moved out here, so we kind of came out here for a week to kind of hang and sleep on the floor.
Yep.
And went to Club Scream.
Sure.
Saw the Fuzz Tones.
Yeah.
And Ian Astbury showed up and sang a song. It was very LA.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, I mean, a great time to be here.
Plus Early Janes, right?
Oh, I saw everybody.
TSOL.
Yeah.
Everybody. Like TSOL. When they kind of went almost like more a new wave.
Yeah, Rage and they would just play these clubs.
Yeah.
And
there was that interesting little sliver of time.
Yeah.
Care Metal was kind of on the wane, and there was that sort of moment of like, where does this go?
Yeah. And you would see a lot of bands just get up and play, like Guns N' Roses at the Cat House. They would just get up and play.
Yeah. I'd hear the stories, but I was never there.
Yeah. I was there. Luckily, Ricky Rackman would let me in. I was so young. But he knew I would.
Ricky knew. Yeah. He knew.
He knew I didn't drink or anything.
He was like, okay. Doing my Jiminy Glick. You knew.
But I drove out here with the drummer, and he was like, oh, I got to go to my friend's house. And I'm like, we're like in a bad neighborhood. What are you talking about? And he would go score dope. I didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
I'm from Grosse Pointe.
How's your friend? And I didn't know.
Is your friend okay?
Yeah. And all of a sudden he was all better.
Okay. You're triggering memory. Because when I was out here and we were staying with like the friend's family type thing, the guy, the man of the house, he was smoking heroin.
Yeah.
So suddenly like we had to leave.
Right.
Like we got kicked out.
Yeah.
We're just like, but we're just sleeping on the floor for a few more days and we're going to go down to Hollywood Boulevard. It's like, you got to get out now. And we kind of got thrown out. Yeah. Very LA, right?
Very LA. It's kind of same thing. Right. When I got to LA, I slept on this floor of these guys and that Chuck knew. And he's like, yeah, just sleep here. And I was like, okay. And I don't know how I fell asleep. I was so excited. And they robbed me. First night.
So I thought I was assuming the best.
Yeah. First night they robbed me. So I was like.
They robbed your guitar?
No, just the money I had.
Sleeping with your
guitar. Yeah. Just the money I had.
Oh God, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. And.
We laugh now, but.
Yeah, you can laugh.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah, and I knew one other person, and luckily, I got
His
to
name
live
was
there.
Nikki Sixx. No,
right.
Oh my God. I didn't know all that stuff. So, somebody, I assume you love him still. Rudy Sarzo.
Love Rudy Sarzo.
How amazing is Rudy Sarzo? So you come in, somehow you end up in a band briefly with Rudy. called Sun King, right?
Yeah. So I'm playing.
I didn't know about Sun King.
Yeah. I don't really, it's so weird. I don't really talk about like a lot of this stuff. Like,
But see, I love this stuff because
I do too. But people don't ask it.
Well, they want to ask about, what's it like being on the road in a private plane? I'm like, no. Tell me how you got from there to there.
And that's why
because you and I know that's an impossible journey.
It's so hard.
Which is why we kind of sit here and go, okay, it worked. I'll take it. But those weird, like you're sleeping on the floor.
Yeah.
You ain't sitting like, one day I'm going to be playing at the stadium with the crew. You're like, oh my God, I can't eat.
Yeah. Literally.
Yeah.
So I'm living at the Hollywood Billiards that was on Hollywood and Western, and no bathroom, no food, no anything. And we actually had to put nails outside of our door so they wouldn't kick it in because there was all these gang members and stuff, which is a pretty good idea. But then we had this gig and...
But there's a gig.
Yeah, but then there was a gig at Gazzari's and Betsy Browning...
Is Gazzari still alive at this point?
Yeah.
So you got that whole experience.
It was Gazzari's.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah. And so Betsy Browning, Rudy was putting a band together and he was in Whitesnake at the time. And I was like, oh my God, Rudy Sarzo's coming to the gig? It's like...
This Rudy Sarzo?
Yeah, it was like, Paul McCartney coming to the show or something.
Yeah.
There was
he's the sweetest,
the
most beautiful...
best, talented, sweetest person you could ever meet, Yeah. So,
talk about an angel.
Oh, incredible. Just an incredible person. So I am... so excited. We're like, oh my God, Rudy Sarzo's here. It's him and his wife and a couple waitresses. No exaggeration. So
one of those LA nights.
Yeah. Okay, we got to go out there. All right. So we open up like this thing without just a little instrumental piece, not anything, just like chords and stuff. And then the singer comes down and he bumps his head on like something because it's real dark. He bumps his head and we're playing and the singer goes like this. And there's blood coming down his head. And the singer just goes, guitar solo. And then I just playing this guitar solo because he's like fixing himself up. Rudy's like, this is the best show I've ever seen. This is incredible. And so the night,
stuff of dreams.
That night, he took me to Denny's. And it was like 2:30 in the morning. He's like,
is this the Denny's like down on Gower?
On Sunset.
Right.
And Rock and Roll Denny's, like the...
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So it was like I was like, oh my God,
I can eat and I'm hanging out with Rudy Sarzo.
Yeah. Because I'm going to put this...
in that order.
Yeah. I'm going to put this band together and our manager is going to be Trudy Green.
Right.
Trudy Green, like Rolling Stones, all this stuff. I was like, oh my God. So I literally got in my car and I was like, I made it.
Yeah.
And Rudy really is the reason where, that I met a lot of people. I did a lot of sessions with John Wetton, Wilson Phillips, all these people, he introduced me to so many people. And it was just an incredible experience. He taught me so much and took me under his wing. And it was just incredible and just the sweetest person.
I mean, talk again, what an angel to run into because he's just the best, Like I asked him when we did the Ozzy gig, the last Ozzy gig, we were talking a bit about him being on tour during those, the Blizzard of Oz days and all those. And, I said, what were you doing while all that mayhem was going on around you? He said, I was in my bunk reading my Bible.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's that guy. He's just that guy,
He's that guy.
Also, I saw that you end up becoming friends and working with Bob Marlette. I know Bob a little bit. I worked with him on a Tony Iommi solo record. Yeah. Bob's an interesting guy, right? He found that niche in there where it's like, as the music business was kind of dissipating, it's like you need a guy like Bob Marlette to actually bring projects together. And was he feeding you work or kind of helping you out or kind of explain that relationship a little bit?
I met Bob through Rudy, and because Bob and Rudy were playing knew each other in the late 70s. And Bob is another one I owe everything to. He introduced me to so many people, and he just really taught me a lot about recording and doing sessions because I love doing sessions. I loved it.
What kind of session work were you doing?
Anything.
Any gig.
Baywatch, Flipper, Salt and Pepper.
I love it.
Everything. Anybody that needed a guitar player, I would just do it. And I can read, and so I would just go in and do the stuff. But I would do it for half the price of anyone else, like way less than anybody else. And I would do it.
Was it an economy? Just I need to work, or were you just happy to do the sessions?
I just thought to myself, I don't know how smart I was, but I was like, well, I'm going to do it for half the price of everyone else and at twice the speed, just to get it done.
I see.
And then I started. Hey,
and you get a rep, yeah.
There's this dumb kid that'll do it for like a few bucks, you know, and so I just started getting all this work from Bob, and he was incredible, just incredible. But he introduced me to Rob Halford,
right?
And
this is the Reznor,
yes, yeah. And he said, "Go, Rob wants to meet you, and go out to Phoenix." And I'm not a great flyer, and I always take these Reese's peanut butter cups with me and put them in my pocket, and I get to Rob's and I'm all nervous, and we're talking.
You're on his white couch, and
yeah, I'm on his white couch. Do you know the story?
No, I just made it up, but I'm guessing
he's got this white couch, and I sit on there, and I'm like,
I just imagine Rob having a lot of white furniture,
and just like I am right now talking to him, and I'm like, oh my God, thinking to myself, oh my God. So he goes, "You want something to drink?" And I said, "Absolutely." So he gets up, and I get up like this and take the cushion, and if there's chalk all over, and flip it around, and I'm just walking around. Just like if I was walking around here, you'd be like, what's the matter with this guy? And years later, I told him, and he goes, Johnny, I thought it was the cat. I thought the cat just went in there or something like that. But it's a true story. But yeah, that's all comes from Bob Marlette, and just, we did so much great work together, and just still recently we did Skinner together and all this great stuff.
I still work with Bob, man.
Yeah, I not lately because of like Mötley and all this stuff, but a little bit here and there. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, wow, I love him dearly.
You had to play with Lita Ford opening for Kiss. I mean, back to Kiss for a second. That's got to be a pinch me moment. Now, this is Kiss before the full makeup reunion.
Oh, absolutely.
So where was Kiss at 94?
Kiss, I'm going to say this is maybe Hot in the Shade.
Okay.
Or maybe a little later, maybe Revenge.
Is this Bruce Kulick on guitar?
Yeah, who's great, who I love.
I used to hang out a lot with Bruce back in the day, and always lovely guy.
Wonderful, talented. So I was doing a session for Lita, and she said, do you want to come do some live shows? And I was like, I'd like to travel.
I'm opening for Kiss.
I don't like to travel. And she goes, oh, we're going to open for Kiss in like San Antonio. And I was like, okay, I'll be there.
Yeah, I'll be there.
I'll be there. So I'm on the plane, and I have this footage, like the
like
camcorder that's like
one of those,
so big, and they're on the plane, but like regular seats. I don't even think they were in first class because I could see them. And I was like,
I would like hard years. This is before the band came back together.
And I would film them walking to the bathroom. I had this, and I filmed like the road cases, and it was so rad. It was so fun.
That'd be a fun present sometime. You put that together for the boys and say, "This is when I was stalking you."
Yeah. That's so.
Why?
Yeah. Oh, he loves it.
So this is a Jimmy Chamberlain, Jimmy the drummer.
I love Jimmy.
Jimmy's
God, I love Jimmy.
He's very Joliet, but Jimmy calls them giggers. So Jimmy hates giggers, right? And Jimmy's estimation of a gigger is the guy around LA, never quite gets traction, waiting for the call. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying you were a gigger. You might quantify yourself as that. Jimmy's best friend is Billy Moeller. I'm sure you know Billy. Do you know Billy from?
Of course, sure.
So, and Billy in his own way would loosely be quantified as a gigger, but he's obviously past that. But I guess I'm just trying to make you laugh. But I mean, at some point, do you worry that you're just going to become kind of one of those guys Does it make sense the way I'm asking it?
Yeah.
I mean, we know how the story ends, so it's laughable now. But
Of
at
course.
the time, do you worry I'm just going to become one of these guys where it's like, because I was like, and I love Katie Lang, you know what I mean? We used to work with her musical collaborator band. I can't think of his name right now. He played on one of her records. Really lovely, and she's lovely too. But like, and she's an amazing singer. And you, like you said, you love country music.
Yeah.
But you know, you're playing with Katie Lang, you're over here. You know, you can get that rep in town where you're like, you're the guy they call, but you're not the guy who ever ends up in the band.
Right. You know, when I was younger, just like a lot of other people, musicians, they always dream of this is what they want to do, and this is what they want to do. I never dreamt like that. I never thought, never.
You never had a kind of a aspirational vision?
I had one of being a session musician, and
Really?
making records. And I was like, God, that would be a dream. That's why I would study so much of reading and all this stuff.
Who was there somebody in your mind that you know, because we know about the Wrecking Crew, and was it like a Wrecking Crew vision?
You know what it is? It's so funny. It's I wish I had a cooler story, but there was this show in the 70s called Session Man. And I had a terrible flight when I was a kid. We would always go to Palm Springs, and it was just one of those 70s horrible flights, and I was throwing up, and it was just horrible. And I said to myself, I never want to fly again. So I saw Session Man, and what they would do is they could just go to these studios and play and make a living.
Was this a docu-series, or was this like
it was like a little story? You can find it on YouTube. It's really interesting. It's like this guy just trying to make it as a session.
But like a TV show?
Yeah, it was like a TV show. Yeah, okay. It's worth a Google. And I thought to myself, that's what I want to do.
Okay.
And at a very young age,
so when you're doing all this, it's not you're not thinking you're going backwards. You actually think, no, this is
exactly what I want to do.
That also explains it.
Yeah. So I never thought. I would never think of myself like people knowing my name or wanting to picture or playing in front of all these people.
It explains something about you because, like, again, from an outside point of view, and this is before I knew you a little bit personally, you know, usually someone in your position, they're looking to, it's the Ingve thing. They're looking to find, it's either going to be about them or they're going to end up with the right gig.
Right.
So you're odd in that because you're not actually looking for that because everybody else is.
Yeah.
So you just assume it, whether it's true or not. Does that make sense? Did you feel people putting that on you too? Like, shouldn't you be more something or?
Yeah, of course. And I still feel like I'm going to wake up and go, oh my God, I had this dream. I was in Mötley Crüe and like.
Well, we'll get to that dream / nightmare in a moment.
Weird, crazy life it's been, and you know, like it's just. I just want to be a session guy, and that was it, and just have like a normal home.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in the big home with the maids and all that stuff, and. What was
it that your parents did that you guys had money like that?
My father was an investor and also insurance, but one of the higher up guys at Allstate's, good hands people. He was like one of the fingers. You know,
my dad was the fourth.
Yeah. And so it was like that. So yeah, we lived on the lake, and it was wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, it was absolutely wonderful. It was, just an incredible.
It explains a lot about you, though, because there's a confidence there. It's one of my questions in a bit, but you've always struck me as somebody who has a confidence because, as you know, and you've worked with them, and some of them are mutual friends of ours, you know, most people, particularly on the alt side of the equation, come from a lot of damaged homes, broken homes, and we're all whacked out of our mind.
Yeah,
so you've always struck me as some sort of like island in the middle of the ocean that doesn't need to sort of be thrown around like the rest of us, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it comes across in the way you play even. There's a confidence, but it's not an arrogance confidence. It's just like, I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody.
Right. No, God, this is why I love this show.
Well, thank you.
I mean, it's just, you hit it right on the head. I'm not trying to prove to anybody. I'm doing this and still learning every day. Like just to keep my mind intact, you know, because, you know, I have physical ailments from just of what happens and just horrible, crippling physical ailments from my past of the tragedy and things like that. So when
what tragedy is that? I don't even know.
the deaths of.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
Yep.
no.
Oh, so it's in my. I call it trauma. Is that a fair word?
Trauma. Yeah. So it was these physical things, but
did it have a physical manifestation? The trauma.
Oh,
you don't have to go into it, but it just
Billy, it's It's the worst thing you can ever imagine. So I got this thing called, I can't believe I'm going to even say it, but I got this thing called prostatitis.
Okay.
Non-bacterial prostatitis. And it
sounds like a metal band from Denmark.
It does, doesn't it? It's not.
Sorry to joke.
But it's when this is so weird, pelvic floor squeezes your prostate so hard.
I'm sorry, try not to laugh.
No, it's crazy.
It sounds like
and it's just from stress. You can't piss, you can't sit, you can't do anything.
And this is a stress-related medical condition? Wow. So you're so stressed out that it has this physical manifestation.
Yeah, that's why I was going to therapy and all this stuff. So
goodness gracious.
It's the most crippling thing. I remember I'm just going to spill it all. I was doing this show with Slash and Ozzy and all these people, and we were going to Norway. And I was bedridden for months with this because you can't sit. The only thing you could do is...
Had you been diagnosed?
Yes.
So you knew what it was, and they don't... sorry to ask for the symptom.
No.
Like, what do they tell you what to do?
Therapy, muscle relaxers, Xanax. But,
okay.
I don't have...
a drug taker.
But I'm not a drug taker. So that's when, I started really honing in on this stuff. But I was on this plane with Ron Wood and Ozzy and all this stuff. And I was kind of like on my back. So I wasn't sitting
on the area.
On the area. And I would act like I was sleeping. And it was just horrible. But luckily, you just get through it. And it's just from all the trauma. It's just all the trauma,
Goodness gracious.
But yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's nuts. But, it's that's where it all comes from,
Well, you've hit it well because, for a lot of us, you seem like one of the sane ones, and there aren't many.
Yeah.
And you played with a lot of crazy people.
But that's the confidence, like you were saying. What I do every day doesn't matter. Like I was in Zombie for 17 years. I would go over the set every day. Playing. The same set we've been doing for 17 years. Every day.
Does that relax your mind? Is this sort
relaxes
of meditative?
Everything.
Interesting.
Yeah. Same thing with, Mötley or Manson or anything. Every day. I did it before I came here. I woke up extra early and did my instrumental set and then the Mötley set. Yeah.
Wow. Is it just because it allows you to kind of a safe place? Is it interesting?
That's exactly it.
Well, let's talk about the safe place of David Lee Roth.
Yeah.
Diamond Dave.
Diamond Dave.
Let's start here. I love Diamond Dave.
We all do.
I'm not looking for any gossip on Diamond Dave. But as a gunslinger guitarist, I'm definitely on the sloppier end of that scale. But
no.
Playing thank you. But I had the same conversation with Steve Vai. Stepping into the shadow of Eddie Van Halen is, That's an inch. It's one thing to think I'm in the Van Halen cover band, I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to sit there and play Van Halen 1 in front of a cassette deck. It's another thing to stand up in front of those fans with that guy and have everybody dissecting every goddamn note you're playing.
Yeah. There's a lot of great stories. And
pick one.
I will tell you, even from the very, very, very beginning, I was sitting on my friend's couch and I saw the book Crazy from the Heat. And I thought to myself, I wonder what Dave's doing. Because it was after the whole Vegas debacle. And I was
he was on a lot on Warner Brothers, I think, trying to get a movie made, right? Wasn't that?
Yeah, like weird. But he wasn't really, it was pretty quiet.
Okay.
And there was an address on the back, and I called and wrote a letter or something. And I said, hey, I'd like to send some music.
Yeah.
And Ed Anderson answered the phone, who was Van Halen's bodyguard from all the great
That's how I know
years.
the name, yeah.
Yeah. And so I went to Bob Marlette's and recorded 3 songs and sent them, and they were like, oh, we really like these songs. Can you give us 3 more? And I'm like, oh, God. I got to beg Bob for like more studio time. And
Yeah.
So I gave him 3 more. Oh, we really like these.
Are they Van Halen?
Yes.
Are they? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So they said, oh, we like these. Can you give us 3 more? And I said, unfortunately, I can't. I'm so sorry.
This is after you gave him 6.
After
That's
6.
for 3 more?
Yeah.
Jeez.
And I said, I have no.
That's a bit much.
And I get a call back. Oh, Dave wants to meet you. Come to his house. And I was like, what? So this is
where your gi.
Like this is like the Thomas guide, So I didn't know. I got the address and I drove there after I got off the phone to make sure I knew where I was going.
Yeah.
And I had my terrible, terrible Toyota Tercel, and I got there and I just found my way, and I got there a little bit early and rang the buzzer. Hello, and it's that voice. And he goes, John, great to meet you. We're going to make a record. We're going to make it just like Van Halen did. We're going to do it live in the studio. And I was like,
is this the classic one where you had to do a bunch of acoustic stuff and there was no click or something?
No, this is the electric. It's DLR band, Slam Dunk and all this stuff. I was like, oh my God. And he goes, all right, we're going to go Monday. We're going to go to Ocean Way, and it's going to be 12 noon. And I said, Mr. Roth, I have a rehearsal with Rob Halford. And he goes, well, I don't want you after rehearsal. I want you fresh. So we're going to start at 6 a.m. And I was like, okay. So I'm like freaking out. And I remember we're in the studio. Ray Luzier's playing drums.
Yeah.
And Bourbon Bob is playing bass, and that's me because, it was just, yeah. He said right before we started, no joke, he goes, if you can't do it in 2 takes, you can't do it. Roll it. And that's what you hear on that record. It's just, that's 2 takes, yeah. And it was incredible. And
I think that's the first time I heard you and realized it was you playing, because I bought that record.
Yeah.
Because I heard something. I thought, well, this is interesting, because somehow you brought a fresh take to the thing.
Yeah.
Does it make sense? It's like, it's kind of what you would expect, right?
Yeah.
Pyrotechnic, but at the same time, I was like, okay, this guy isn't trying to do his Eddie Van Halen imitation. He's got his own thing. Wow. So it did stick out that way.
Right. And it was so magical. But you have one of those CDs. Now, Dave did all that himself with this guy, Kieran, because this was on his own record label.
Yeah, because it had like some weird early Photoshop.
Betty Page.
Oh,
weird.
Yeah. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, and Dave did that.
I have one somewhere in my attic.
He pressed them.
I had no idea.
Yeah, he did all those. And I thought that was really smart. And this was when record companies were still record companies.
And they were not happy that artists were being independent.
Right.
It was the whole Prince
and
slave
he was
on
like
the
one of
face
the very first ones. But I'll fast forward to the acoustic record. This is a great story. We were in the studio playing these songs and loving it and having such a great time. And I was going on the road, I forget, with somebody. And Dave's like, this is great. Sounds awesome. And when you're gone, we're going to have Greg Bissonette come in and he's going to play drums, and maybe we'll get Tuggle to do some keyboards. And I was like, great, Dave, let me know how it goes. And the engineer goes, well, wait a minute. We can't put drums on this. There's no click.
Yeah.
Dave's like, what do you mean? And I'm putting my guitars in the car. He comes running out and he goes, I've never said this before. He goes, John, I'm going to ask you for a favor, and, a real favor. Can you redo this whole record with a click? And it's late and I have to catch a plane in the morning. He goes, I'll pay you, like this much money. And I said, Dave, I'm not going to take your money. I'll do it. And there's all these overdubs and all this stuff. And I did it for him.
Yeah.
I redid the whole record in like a day for him, just because, that's our guy. you know?
Yeah, it reminds me of when Syd Barrett sadly was going insane and had left Pink Floyd. Gilmour, who had been his friend, and the other guys at Floyd were still supportive, and he was technically signed to Harvest, which was their label. They made those Syd Barrett records. I don't know if you ever heard them. Well, the only way they could record was Syd would go in and record live with all those weird stops and starts and timings, and then they'd have to figure out how to go back in and build a band around the tracks. And David Gilmour told me, he said it was a nightmare because it's like, it's like, how do you follow that weird timing? And
it would seem impossible.
But it was like but it was this labor of love where they so badly wanted to support him. But it was one of those things like, how do you overdub drums on an acoustic?
I mean,
played
really?
Live with singing,
Like, do you think they cut it up a little bit? Do you think?
They must have done. I bet they did anything they could think of.
It's so interesting. I never knew that.
If you go back and listen to those records, I don't know if you've ever heard them. They're really beautiful.
Yeah, I have. They're
so
nice.
Those were all posthumously added music.
It's so odd.
I think in some cases they played live with them, but I can't remember if it's stuff that David Gilmour told me privately or stuff I've seen in interviews, but basically it got to the point where he couldn't play the same thing twice. So even if they rehearsed up a take, like, okay, you play the drums, I got the bass, he would play it differently the next time.
Interesting.
So the only way they could track to it was let him do whatever number of takes, edit those together, and then try to add instrumentation to it as he kind of slid into total madness.
Geez,
that's intense. Yeah,
that's intense.
So not quite that, but I get why that's an impossible task.
Yeah.
Let's just talk one more beat about Roth. So now you're out there in front of those audiences. You're playing his solo stuff, Van Halen classics. How was your response from that crowd? How did you? Were they nice? Were they respectful? Were they thought you were insane? Or
here's the thing. Dave said, "Come over to the house." It's so strange.
I know where this goes.
You just had to laugh about this, but he goes, "Come over to the house. We're going to practice some moves. Like you're going to crouch down. I'm going to kick over you." And I was like in the Panama video, and he's like, "Exactly." And I'm like, "This is the greatest thing ever." And then I feel bad about this. It's even kind of hard to talk about. And then I get a call from Marilyn Manson camp.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't go do the live.
Satan called.
I couldn't do the live shows with Roth.
Satan called.
Yeah, Satan called. But I couldn't do the live shows.
Yeah.
With
you didn't
Roth.
end up touring. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, because I joined Manson.
Ah.
And I loved Manson.
Mm-hmm.
Loved. During Katie Lang, before we go on stage, I'd be listening to Hate Anthem and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was Dave mad at you?
He understood. And I remember
because he's a smart guy.
He's very smart. But he was very supportive, and he's very kind. Like when the David Lee Roth, and just it's Dave, you know, and it's just he's very rational, smart person. I remember calling Gene, and I'm, Gene, and I said, "Gene, what should I do? Should I join Manson or stay with Roth?" And he goes, "Join Manson." And
because Manson was still very much on the upswing.
Oh yeah, it was Mechanical Animals just coming out.
Yeah,
and that's what I did, and I felt bad, But me and Dave are still great friends today.
That's nice
We've
to hear.
Worked many.
That's cool to hear that he was supportive of you because again, he's smart enough to know, okay, this is a good thing for this guy.
Yeah, he's always been so kind, and we wrote a really nice tribute to Eddie.
Oh, okay.
It's called "Nothing Could Have Stopped Us Back Then," and it's a song about Van Halen.
Yeah.
And please, Billy, just look up the video. And it's just so touching. It's just Van Halen clips and it just tells the story of how they were together.
Yeah.
It's incredible. But I love Dave. He's an incredible person.
Yeah, it's a shame because maybe time will solve all these things because, you still have the books coming out and, won't be long. All this other Van Halen material is going to come out on the market. But like all great bands, there's 80 different stories that need to be told. But at the end of the day, and we go back to what we were talking about before with even Kiss, you set aside all the stories, all the bull, all the egos, all the cocaine. It's like if the music wasn't awesome, nobody would give a shit.
Nobody.
And Van Halen, when those four were together, and did you ever get to see that lineup together?
Of course.
What tours did you see?
84.
That's when I saw them. So we probably saw them 2 days apart.
Of course.
Because they either were going from Chicago to Detroit, Chicago.
Absolutely incredible.
Unbelievable.
Like, it's something
electric at a level that's almost hard to quantify.
It's like describing the color blue. You can't do it.
Exactly.
It's I believe the Beatles, I can't even put other bands. Let's say the Beatles and then Van Halen. It's when those four guys are together. It was so magical. Eddie was such a brilliant genius. His rhythm playing,
if he never played leads, just his rhythm player, some of the greatest rhythm players of all time. And I mean, we're talking all the way through jazz guys, everybody. This is insane. It
was so different than any other guitar player. His rhythm playing, it was so percussive, of course, and being a drummer, but he was so incredible and an innovator and a great, unbelievable lead player. And on top of that, an unbelievable songwriter.
And good looking and funny and all of it.
Couldn't we just put a bubble around him?
Well,
and just say, okay, world, just.
But that's the beauty of seeing them in 84. It was like that last flash. Obviously, they did more touring later, but that last flash, prime of youth, the relationships were still somewhat intact. How was the vibe the night you saw him? Because I saw him from the side, so I was up in the balcony at what was called Rosemont Horizon back in the day, near the airport. And so I could see from the side of the stage down, obviously seeing the band, but then I could see Eddie's little guitar world behind. So when Ed would leave the stage to go have a smoke and talk to his tech, I could see into his little tech world. And Roth was doing these 5-minute, 7-minute soliloquies, jokes, whatever that schmaltzy was into at the time. And Eddie would just sit, I could see him shaking his head, getting pissed off. And when I met Eddie for the first time and I interviewed him for Guitar World, whatever, I asked him about that. And he was like, man, I just got so sick of him just talking and would get so mad because I just wanted to play. So I learned to just leave the stage, let him have his shtick, and then when it was done, out I'd come. So they only played like 9 songs. It was very short, but God, when they played, holy moly.
There's really.
Well, how was the vibe when you saw them?
Incredible.
Because I felt like I saw them on a bad mood night.
Oh no. In Detroit, I couldn't believe it. It was unbelievable. And I think it was the MTV Lost Weekend, because that happened in Detroit.
Yeah.
And it was magical. I'll never forget it. My very first concert was Iggy Pop, Santana, and the Rolling Stones in 1981.
Okay.
And that was, in a big stadium, but nothing will compare to that 1984 show. It was just unbelievable.
Okay, so speaking of Satan, were you around Manson before you end up in that world? Were you around them at all?
It's a great question. I heard they needed a guitar player after Daisy.
But I'm saying, had you hung out socially with them?
No.
Okay, see, the reason I bring this up is because we were making our album Adore. So we used to...
Great record.
Oh, thank you.
No. Unbelievable record.
Thank you. That's very kind. So we were going up to that house they were all living in.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why I ended up doing some of the ghostwriting on that record and giving them advice on how to do certain things. So I saw the whole Mechanical Animal things playing out in real time. And it was wild. And it was wild.
It was wild. It was wild. But I loved them so much. They
did have a great camaraderie during that time. It kind of all went later. You know what I mean? Including like one of them saying weird shit about me, like, and I never had a problem with the person. And it was like a camp that was.
Oh, I got great stories with that.
Good.
There's a reason for that stuff.
Okay.
And it's so strange. But like, okay, so I guess I don't even know where to start, but I'll start from where I was playing with Halford.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see Manson so bad, and he didn't play because something happened, and I was so bummed I didn't get to see them live. And I always missed it. I was doing Conan O'Brien. I ran down to Roseland to watch them, and their show got ended like an hour earlier. So I never got a chance to see them.
It was wild times.
Yeah. And so I get a call from coming home from Europe. Oh, Manson wants to meet you because of the whole Trent Reznor, Nothing Records, Rob Halford thing.
Okay, that makes sense.
And so I got in the band, and this is like what you said before. I was at Tony Siula's birthday party.
They much agree with Tony Siula.
Yeah. And I was there, and I was like, and all the guys are there, and Manson was like really nice, and all the guys were really nice. And I liked Pogo. I thought Pogo looked really cool and crazy.
Yeah.
And I really thought Pogo was cool. And I was like, hey, Pogo, at Tony's party. Wouldn't say anything. And I thought, maybe he didn't hear me. Maybe he didn't hear me. Hey, Pogo, how's it going? Nothing. And I was like, and it's just me and him. I go, I'm going to try one more time. I'm saying to myself, hey, Pogo, how you doing today? He goes, I'm not going to say hi to you. You're only going to be in the band for 6 months. And I was like, it's just like what you were saying. Like, not Manson, but the other guys were so mean to me. Like, and I just wanted nothing but for them to succeed.
Yeah.
I played everything. I was first one there, last to leave. Played, and I remember at rehearsal. It's funny, I never tell these stories. I was at rehearsal, and we were doing that Great Big White World, that song.
Mm-hmm.
And Pogo was trying to remember the keyboard part. And I go, oh, it's like this, Pogo, but not like, I kind of went aside and just showed him. And he got so mad at me. I was like, and then Manson came in and was like, they were arguing like I've never seen two people argue in my life, still to this day. And I thought, oh, the band's over.
Oh, that's just that was a Tuesday.
That was just another day. And I had no idea.
Yeah.
But not Manson. Manson was always, really good and kind to me. But the other guys were so mean. Ginger was nice, but and I was like, I wonder why, but it was so weird. When you said that, it brought back that memory.
I still don't know. I mean, I like I said, I just was curious if you were around that camp before you ended up playing with them, because, I was watching it happen in real time. And of course, the separation, Manson starts to become a much bigger star, and there was resentment. This classic band stuff. Did you, I guess the gestation of the question is, and it goes back somewhat to you talk about being a studio musician in your mind. In this situation now, you're helping write music, a lot of strong music. The guitar obviously is very featured in that group. Did you feel in those 4 or 5 years that you were there that you were part of it, or do you feel it's like 1 foot in, 1 foot out? Does it make sense?
I felt a part of it from Manson. And I had such a respect for Twiggy. I thought he was super talented.
He's crazy talented.
Crazy talented, great songwriter. And he was weird with me in the beginning.
Yeah.
But then he knew I was there as a whole.
Yeah.
And then he started to open up a little bit, and we worked together, and we worked really well together. Yeah. I believe we wrote some great music. I felt like I was in the mix. I felt good. Yeah. I felt strong. But this is where it got really strange. Golden Age of Grotesque tour, and everything's going good. Everything's going great. And all of a sudden, I was getting these weird things. Like they were like, "Oh, you messed up in this song." And I was like, "I don't really remember that, but okay." And then it happened again. And I told our sound man, Brad Maddox, I said, "Brad, can you record the show?" And he recorded the show, DAT tapes back then. And they said, "Oh, you messed up in this part." And I go, "No." And they go, "Yeah, you did. You messed up." And I played it and I go, "No, it's right here." And they got so mad. So one of the members was trying to get me out.
Yeah.
And then I just thought everything was so good. Like, I mean, the band was super tight, great. And I got let go. And so I was like, I was surprised at it, you know, that.
Well, I got defriended at some point. So I experienced it sort of more on the social end, but I watched it happen to others where it would just like the machine would roll on and people would just get kind of cleaved off. And so that's why I was asking, because, you seem to take great possession of it, and the band was benefited from that. Bands like that, you don't want giggers, it really has to feel like people.
Yeah. And I wanted to stay as long as I could stay.
Yeah.
But what was really incredible is that Manson gave me a call and he apologized. And I just thought that was so kind. And he's, "I'm so sorry, I knew you just wanted the best for the band and all that stuff." And I just thought that was really very nice of him. But I wanted to stay I stayed in Rob Zombie for 17 years, I want someplace to just hang my hat.
Yeah. Is that because, if you look at the personalities, we'll include Lita Ford in this. Lita Ford, David Lee Roth, Manson, Rob Zombie. In those cases, it's like, some charismatic person, it's like their brand. Mm-hmm. And then, that you need this other person to bring some spark and fire. It's just up until you working with Mötley Crüe, it always felt like, at least from a public point of view, that you never quite found it. And maybe that's just because it's observational, like in the 5 years that you were with Manson or whatever, you were in it. You said you were in it. But from my point of view, it goes by fast.
It does. Don't blink.
Yeah, right. So I was just curious how you felt in that. Did it feel mercenary? Did it feel I don't know. It's hard for me because I'm always at the center of it. And the reason I'm asking is it has a certain sensitivity because through the years working with different people, they'll kind of sometimes give me this vibe that I'm somehow responsible for their discomfort. And I'm not saying you experienced that, but they'll put that on me. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that? I mean, I'm me. I figured out how to do this. I write my own songs. I don't necessarily need a lot of help, but it doesn't mean I don't want you here. But it's like they almost want me to bridge something I can't bridge.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you write your songs, you write your music, your melody, your lyrics, but you want people behind you to support what you're doing.
Well, even I'm a lot more open to contribution than people would think.
I mean, Jimmy.
Well,
come on.
Well, that one fell out of the sky.
It's like, geez.
I saw a clip today of Taylor Hawkins' son playing our song Silver live somewhere in Europe, just playing these, and just like, and I was there. I mean, 1992 when he started playing those crazy beats, and I was like, I'll take that. Yeah.
But Manson was always nice to me.
Yeah.
He was always nice to me. So I was crushed, when I got fired.
Yeah.
And
did they give you that? I don't know. Maybe it's his cruel sense of humor. Did he say anything in particular? Was it Tony that gave you the axe?
It was Tony, and he just said, "Oh, he just wants to write with other people." And I was like, "Okay," but yeah.
To be fair, and I'm not defending him. To be fair, because I had a conversation with him in 1998.
Yeah.
About this very subject because I was around the mechanical animal stuff. I tried to explain to him because he's not a very musical person. He's very conceptual in his artistic thinking, but he's not a musician, maybe is a better way to put it. You know what I mean? Like you and I could sit, even if we've never written together, and we could write a song because we speak a common language. And I tried to explain to him that, he was going to forever be dependent on whoever was in the room with him because he couldn't write his own tunes. And he saw that as a form of freedom. And I said, no, you're going to ultimately find it's a form of enslavement. And I wasn't telling him to get a Tascam and learn to write his own songs. But I said, the source of your frustration is never going to go away. So you need to have a better sense of your collaborators and understand why they're valuable, because you think you can trade them in and out, but you're not going to find that's that easy.
Like Roth and Eddie.
Yeah, or even Roth and, even Eddie and Hagar.
Yeah.
When I interviewed Eddie in 98 for
Guitar
World, that was, Sammy had left maybe within the last 6 to 9 months, and there was a ton of acrimony in the air.
Absolutely.
And Eddie was going on at length.
Oh, absolutely.
None of that got printed, of course, and that's fine. But I got the first-hand blasts of how he felt. But it's the same thing, right? Rick Nielsen about Robin Zander, and it's like you got one of the greatest vocalists, if not the greatest vocalist of all time.
Absolutely.
Rick Ocasek complaining to me about Ben Orr in the Cars.
Really?
Oh yeah, because I worked with Rick around the same age, late 90s. It's this frustration of needing other people. But to me, I'm not making it about me, but I'm saying I sort of crossed that bridge a long time ago, that I was gonna need people. I was okay with being self-contained, and I would be like, okay, well, I need a drummer. You know what I mean? But in the case of somebody like Manson, I also saw where he had a hard time understanding that you can't just dream your crazy dystopia into reality. You need people to actually implement it into real things. And I remember having a very specific conversation about Alice Cooper's band. And I love Alice Cooper.
Of course.
But here when the time we're taping this, the Alice Cooper band just put out their first album together in like 50 years. And if you're an Alice Cooper fan like I am, and he made a lot of great music after the band, but that original band had something that's a one-of-a-kind thing. And same thing with Manson. When that original band dissipated, including whoever doesn't like me in that band, something got lost because Manson became the name Marilyn Manson.
Right.
But I was standing there actually saying, this is a lot more valuable than you think it is, because it just doesn't happen the way you think it happens.
And we communicated, like, musically in the studio. We really had a connection, and writing, like, Disposable Teens and the Nobodies and Fight Song and This Is the New
I still hear
Shit.
that stuff. That's how you know it's working, right? It's still there.
And we did it like this, and it was like we really had an incredible connection writing wise. It was great.
Okay, last bit.
Yeah.
Everything's just swimming along. Mötley Crüe.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable, right? It's so weird to even say.
Yeah. Well, here you are.
Yeah, it's so strange.
Yeah. So 2022, this is my own quote. I'm going to quote myself. And I wrote this in my notes, but I had to quote myself. This is my quote for you. You are uniquely voiced for that circus.
That's great. That's a bumper sticker that I should have on my car.
Because there was a time, I still am very fond of Nicky, but there was a time where we were kind of friendish and spoke to him a lot in that period. And then I've worked with Tommy, and I've known Tommy for years.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, we just went to Oasis, and I said, I'm going to see Billy. And he just was saying so many great things about you. He loves you.
Oh, that's sweet.
He loves you.
I love Tommy too. So I feel like I have a really good grasp on the gig because I know two of the principals pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
I've spoken for hours and hours and hours with Nicky about songwriting and music, and I've worked with Tommy. And fantastic musician, just natural talent. In fact, speaking of Alice Cooper, I was thinking of something to tell you today. I was in the studio working with Tommy on this album of mine from 2014. And I wanted to play a certain thing. And I go, it's like that song by Alice Cooper, 18. And he goes, very Tommy with the sticks. He's like, bro, don't really know that one. I go, Tommy, how the fuck do you not know I'm 18 by Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
He goes, I just didn't really listen to that.
Oh, it's so
But only Tommy could say that, and you with a straight
Yeah.
face, and you're like, really? How do you not know that song? He's
Yeah.
like, just what? And so of course I'm thinking, and he's like, I guess it was into something else, and I'm like, I know exactly what you were into. It wasn't the radio, right? So just walk me through the basics of them coming, because I know you had a somewhat of a musical relationship with Nikki that went back before.
Yeah.
How much did you know them personally?
I mean, I was so close with Nikki, like, so close. We talk like 10 times a day, and just like, just chit-chatting for years and years, decades, and I knew Tommy, I played on some of his stuff, and I was kind of always in the mix, and I knew Mick really well, talked to him. They were just my friends, and there was not one time where there was ever talk like, oh, you should never, not once. We would just go to the mall.
Just buddies,
go ride our bikes and, go to Neiman Marcus and try on funny clothes and stuff,
Spangled jeans.
So it was, it's just like playing with your buddies, it's very strange how it all came.
Am I correct in assuming that they figured out it was you before they called you, and they never auditioned anybody?
Yeah, no, it's like, I'm around those guys so much playing guitar, and I've been playing these songs since since the records came out.
Such great.
When they gave me the set list, they were like, all right, learn these. I'm like, I know all these. I know these. Like, I could go play a show today.
Such great guitar playing. Such a cool,
great guitar
one of
playing.
A kind guitar player. I just love his playing.
I love him, absolutely love him. And it's just, I don't change a note.
Yeah.
I don't
Why
change.
would you?
Why would you?
Yeah.
It's just like taking a piece of classical music and going, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
You play exactly how it was recorded. Now, I love it so much that I will play exactly how it's recorded, not how it was played live, but because I would go see bands when I was little, and I would love these certain guitar licks or certain drum fills, and they wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But when I saw like Rush on the Signal Store, it was exactly how it was. And that's how I'd like to do it.
Yeah.
Because people have grown up with these songs, including myself.
Yeah.
And they want to hear it just like how it was on the record. It's perfect.
Why would you change it?
Why would you change it? It's perfect.
Because I was listening to what's the album with the pentagram on the cover?
Shot the Devil.
Senior. I was listening to that recently. It's like a perfect record. It's like,
yeah,
I wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change anything.
No.
All of it. It's really is a perfect record.
And the videos, were on MTV every other video, and it's weird. Like when I'm on stage with them and we're playing these big places and I see Vince like singing Home Sweet Home and I see Nikki, I'm like, this is weird, It feels like it's like in Hot Tub Time Machine where the guy imagined himself in Mötley Crüe. It's like that,
Yeah. Well, I think it's a credit to how they view you as a person. I mean, I'm not saying it's not about music, because you got to be able to do the gig, but when I saw that you got the gig, I totally understood why they wanted to work with you, because it's a weird spot, right? You got a guy who's obviously his physical situation is well documented, and it's one of those great weird rock things. It's sad because as a fan you want to see the band. So when they picked you, it made total sense. It's like, here's somebody we can trust, somebody who's going to do it right, so we don't have to worry about this person. Especially with everything they've been through, it makes sense to me. So I'm glad, at least my sense of it is that it's a happy gig for you.
It's a great gig. It's a great gig because they know I love them and I love the music, and that's how, I go to rehearsal and do a gig every day. I just treat it with such respect.
Yeah. Okay, two things, because we don't need to belabor it. I got to say now, because I'm a guitar whore.
Yes.
The Telly.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I know.
I know you like your Telly, but I'm like, oh.
I know.
I'm not asking you to defend it.
No.
But did you ever consider going like?
It's like,
I'm really putting you on. I don't do gossip on my show, but this is as tough a question as I ask.
It's like, when you're coming into your own and you're like a certain kind of woman, you like either like boobs or a butt or something like that. And that's how I was with the Telly.
So it's Don Rich's fault.
Yeah, it's totally Don Rich's fault. It is totally Don Rich's fault. It's just something in my brain went boing, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I just loved it. And, my first real guitar was a Stratocaster.
Okay.
And like of course, play Stratocaster and love that Strat and made it.
Still love that thing.
Some of the greatest songs ever on that Strat.
I hate Fender, but I love that Strat.
Yeah. And I didn't love it. I was waiting for my Telly, And
I get it. Okay. I get it. Because Jimmy Chamberlain, actually, my first Strat, he came to me and he said, I got the Strat. It was like a 74 bullet head Strat. And I said, okay. I tried it. Like, how much? He goes, $270. So I bought it. And that became the first Pumpkin guitar, the one that got stolen that I got back after 27 years, stolen in Detroit.
That's right. You told that on
St. Andrews Hall.
At St. Andrews Hall.
1992, somebody walked out the back door with it. I just got it back a few years ago.
You were talking about it on one of the shows, one of the episodes.
So that becomes the sound for me. And like you, I understand what you're saying. As soon as I had the guitar, I was like, this is what I've been looking for my whole life.
Yeah.
This is the exact feel and the thing, and I can do the Jimi Hendrix thing. And it was like, okay, cool. So about 5 years later, I'm somewhere at a bar, something in Chicago. This guy comes to me and he goes, he's still playing that Stratocaster. And I go, yeah. He goes, did you get it from Jimmy? And I go, yeah, he sold it to me. He goes, he stole that from me.
Oh my!
He goes,
God.
Jimmy and I used to be roommates or something. And he goes,
and
I'm thinking like, oh shit, he's going to ask the guitar back. He goes, it's cool. You can have it. I'm glad you're playing it. And he goes, how much did he charge you for it? And I go, $270. He goes, oh, that explains it. That was the rent. So Jimmy didn't even upsell the guitar to like $300 so he gets some burger money.
Brilliant. That's the greatest.
So he stole his friend's guitar, sold it to his bandmate, paid the rent, and then he was like, you can have it. It's all good.
But think about this story. But think about how that guitar found you, and you wrote all those great songs.
Okay, I get it. So you don't have to.
But no. Seriously, that wrote these songs.
Yeah.
Did you ever see The Red Violin?
No, but I know what it is.
It's a great movie about this violin that's hundreds and hundreds of years old and goes all. It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
So you are the Telly, and the Telly is you, and there you are playing a Telly in Mötley Crüe.
And I'm so proud.
All right, cool. I get that. Okay, one more tough question. I know we talked a bit about you doing your solo records. I'm just curious why you don't. There's got to be somebody in you saying, can't you have a song with the singer and we could do a single? And is there a reason you keep your solo records without vocals?
Just because I have a singer. I think I've always had a singer, if it was, Manson or Zombie and now Vince Neil. But that's my singer. So I just kind of just go nuts, and
yeah.
And that's just, I just love to just go crazy and play. I love to go out and play so much. I'll play anywhere with electricity, and I'm not doing this to like push something, but I have this idea which is going to come to fruition next year. I'm going to do 50 states in 50 days, 50 shows.
Yeah.
So 50 in a row.
Okay, now let's go back to our beautiful wives. When you sit down at the kitchen table, you go, I got this idea. She says...
the just disappointing side.
I think we end right there. I don't think we're going to top that. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.